Hey everybody, happy Friday. Appreciate everyone's comments and sending me emails and this and that, reaching out through Twitter. I'm really not on Twitter. I'm mostly on listen only mode. Anyway, I thought what I would do today is be a bit reflective because I know we have some time coming up for the holidays where the markets are going to be closed. Let's see. Yeah, 4th is next Tuesday. So what I thought I would do is speak from the heart on something, and that is whenever I speak with somebody, I listen obviously for the words that they're saying, but I also try to figure out like why. What's the emotion behind it? Why are they asking or why are they saying what they're saying? And it's occurred to me after, doing a lot of these videos that many of you are uncomfortable feeling uncertainty or feeling the feelings that you have to feel when you don't have to, but when you're involved in a process where the outcome is uncertain. And that to me is where trading happens. The best traders are the ones who can deal with living in that space of uncertainty. When you put on a trade, of course, or if you play poker or anything where there's a type of chance, you're a baseball player, an athlete, you have a probabilistic outcome. And you need to learn how to become comfortable with all the variations, right? Now, if you study yourself long enough, you know where the probabilities are going to lie. You probably have a good idea of what your average win is. You have the expected value. For those of you who are just starting, it might be a little bit harder because you might come to trading like you would other things in your life where you get training. Because a lot of things in life are, in fact, academic. Trading is not one of those, though. And I want to kind of nip this once in the bud because I get a lot of emails about continuing ed and this and that. And I don't want to have to keep repeating myself. There are themes that I'm going to repeat, like having goals, for example, and look at them from different angles to see if I can't help get the message across. But when it comes to trading, ultimately, you have to trade. Trading is not about circling the wagons and waiting to get ready. To me, you're either ready to trade on day one or you're not. Because it's how you're built. It's who you are as a human being. I do think there's a little nature and there's a little nurture. But I'll give you, for example, when I got to Wall Street, I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. And the first thing I did was fund an account and I started trading. You know why? Because the best teacher is to do it. You have to figure it out along the way. Now, I know some of you are like, well, wait a second. I'm not comfortable with that. Here's my response. You might not be cut out for trading. If you're afraid to take on the uncertainty that goes with trading, whether it's year 1 or year 30, okay, it's time to hang up the cleats. Too many of you are spending too much time on this, and you're wasting a lot of money on services that aren't going to help you, but appeal to you emotionally because you want to spend money to kind of relieve yourself from having to feel the strong feelings that you have to feel that heretofore you might be unwilling to feel. So with the time that we have off this upcoming weekend, coming into, 4th of July weekend, I'd like you to not trade, even take the whole of next week off and get some perspective on yourself because there are so many other opportunities out in the world, right? So many other opportunities where you can actually go and be a success. It's not worth it to beat your head against the wall for something that's just not working. And it's not that you're inadequate as a human being. To be a trader, you have to have a certain emotional makeup, right? Or you have to develop it. And it's very hard to develop it. That's the truth. The truth is it's very hard to develop the inner workings, the psychological and the emotional makeup that it takes to deal with the stress and the pressure of managing risk. The living with the uncertainty, the idea that you can study your craft and learn certain techniques but still not be able to execute, right? There's a whole ocean of people out there who know a lot about trading but who can't execute. What I don't want to see, and I might be the only person who's doing videos on this, is you kill a lot of time having an interest or being a trading enthusiast but not actually doing it. because we don't have as much time on planet Earth that we think we do, you see? And this occurred to me the other day when I was speaking with somebody who was like, well, why would you study martial arts? Why would you, do anything? And I remember when I had gotten into, I found out that I was accepted into Columbia, and some of the kids that I was around with at the time, I was like 18 years old, for whatever reason, they weren't exactly happy about it. And I thought to myself, I don't understand why someone would talk smack to me when I'm just chasing my dreams. And so one of the things that I did, and I remember it like it was yesterday, I literally took out a spiral-bound notebook from that year, and I wrote down the people that I spent the most amount of time with. And I said, well, who among these people are really going to go out and chase their dreams, right? And then if they weren't clear on what their dreams were, I said, I thought, like, who had it in them to really go for it? Or who was really kind of talking smack because they wanted to fit in? Which, let's face it, everyone wants to fit in. I know that sounds like political language, but everybody wants to. I had the Yankee game on mute over here, so I'm going to turn it off. Everybody wanted to fit in on some level, right? They want to feel like they're part of something. But in the trading world, that's where the discords don't serve you. You could spend a lot of time trying to be a moderator and start giving other people advice, but not actually be able to execute yourself. So you have to think about, where are the feelings? Like, what are the feelings that you're going towards? Do you want to be helpful because you want to be more liked? I guess there's some virtue in that, but it's not going to help you trade better. The only thing that's going to help you trade better is actually putting on the trades. I want to say something, it might seem controversial, but I think it is an absolute truth. And you send somebody to me and I will debate them on air, live. With trading, the best you can do is have an idea or a theory about what you think is going to work, and then go try it. The best you can do. Of course, you want to keep your losses small. We talked about attitude, discipline, persistence, determination, but those things are kind of true for every endeavor. Here's the next step, though. You got to figure it out along the way. And I think one of the reasons why there's so many people who aren't really succeeding in trading and who aren't going to is because they're looking for surety. They're looking for an intellectual solution that would give them a peace of mind so that they can go outside into the world, put on trades, and live in that space of uncertainty. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You actually have to be in the game and invite that into your world. You have to learn how to feel uncomfortable when you don't want to. Remember when I said the feelings that you want to feel are sometimes on the other side of the feelings that you know. How did I say it? I said, sorry, sometimes I get confused. The feelings that you want to feel are on the other side of the ones you don't want to feel. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You need to be in the game. Doesn't matter if you risk 50 cents, literally 50 cents, not 50 cents a share, just 50 cents. You're going to learn from the experience, and the only way that you can do it is to be in the game. Simulators kind of help. They give you an idea, but it's still not real money. And I can't stress enough, if you want to start making progress, you have to start doing it right now. Of course, I don't know who you are specifically, so talk with your financial advisor. Like that person has a clue, but you have to say that from a risk standpoint. And figure out if this is appropriate for you, but then get in the game. Doesn't matter if you don't know your backside from a hole in the ground. You're going to learn along the way. And that's the process that you want to get into. And repeat that to yourself now the next week while you're not trading, right? Or you're not, stalking the markets trying to figure out what to do. Because that's not going to help you. You've been stalking the markets for three weeks, maybe 3 months, maybe 3 years. That's not helping you put trades on. Uptiming and downtiming, not going to help you either. The only thing that's going to help you is the actual experience of it. You see? This will help you fail fast. And that's a good thing, because at that point, you'll know how to make a pivot and try something differently. Or you'll say, this isn't for me. And either way, you win, because then you save time, you get your life back, and then you can go put your efforts into something that you'll be a great success on. There's too many marketing things, and this just kind of hit me. I want to be completely frank with you. This is a re-recording of today's episode. I have to go back to Ganja and tell him that I want to replace what I had already recorded. And the reason is because, like you, I'm inundated with offers. 26-year-old guys who don't know shit about the markets have found the new thing that's going to help you, and they're going to, for a small down payment or a small monthly fee, going to help you along the way. And it's the same thing. It just changes year after year. There's a new thing that they're trying to sell you to help you deal with these feelings of insecurity. And they don't work. If they worked, guess what would happen? They'd be so dominant that we wouldn't see other advertisements. And if we did, they wouldn't last because they wouldn't convert. Why? Well, because the solution was already out there and people bought in and they were working it, and that was that. And so I can't stop you from being bullied by these idiots. I am going to start doing some consumer reports kind of stuff, and call people out on what their claims are and give you another perspective of what they might not be saying. Because again, language is powerful. And some of these folks have studied marketing in college and they're pretty clever and they know how to put together an argument. But, just because somebody did very well penny stocking, long or short, doesn't mean you can. It just means there's evidence that someone can do it. And just because someone can swing trade, right, or day trade, doesn't mean anything for you. It just means that someone else did it successfully. It's possible. And just because someone can do trend following doesn't mean you can. And just because you can understand any of these things intellectually, that doesn't mean that you can execute on it. So there's a big disconnect between being able to understand something intellectually and then being able to do it. Why? It's because 80% of it is psychological and emotional. And so I'm trying to help all of you for free, right? I don't have anything to sell. I mean, yeah, I do have a course that helps you marry the ins and the outs of trading with your own behavior. But the course is about human behavior. The trading part is kind of incidental. Most of the folks who study with me say that it's changed their lives because they have a fresh outlook on their own behavior. That's not the point of this video, though. If I wanted to get to this and make it marketing, this is what? The 12-minute mark. I would have been trying to capture your attention within the first 15 seconds if I was trying to sell you something. So understand this. You can't buy your way out of it. There are a few books that might give you insight, and that's great. But ultimately, you have to get into the practical aspect of the execution, and that means putting money to work when you don't know what you're doing, right? And learning along the way. A lot of folks don't want to do that because they don't want to lose the money. They don't have it to lose, which tells you something about you and why you should be trading in the first place, you see? And for the folks who are more established, it's the same type of a deal. What's the motivation? What is it? Why do you do what you do? Right? Because you don't want to spend your life in this turmoil because you're creating it for yourself. This is self-imposed. And there's a lot of folks who ping me, and I can tell they're just not cut out for trading. And I don't want to be a dream killer, but I can tell from their temperament and their personality and their timidness that they're either afraid to fail internally, they're afraid to fail and have other people comment on it. And they have shut themselves down already. So this whole thing of mind effing themselves in and around trading, I don't fully understand it. Why? Well, because traders trade. I couldn't wait to become a success. Right? Now, let me give you some more context. I consider myself a success in this field. You may disagree. 35 years doesn't really lie. It took me 4 years. So if you were able to learn how to succeed and marry what you thought about the markets and your behavior, and you were able to execute, make money but lose less, so that net you made, and you did that within 1 year, you will have come to the conclusion that you're a success in 25% of the time that it took me. And people are like, I don't have a year. I need results now. And that's just not the way it works. There is no fast solution. There is no external solution to your internal problems. There's no intellectual solution for your emotional problems. But that's the marketing world that we live in. Remember, I kind of joke, advanced charting packages? No such thing. There are certain entitlements, like with your cable company. You want to stream HBO, which should be HBO Max. I don't know what it's called anymore. I don't have it. You want MLB.TV? Perfect. Just click the button and pay. You can a la carte everything. But all of that stuff is not going to remove the insecurity that you feel in yourself. And so I want to be here to help you with that and help you save time, help you save your brain cells, and encourage you to either stop or go find something else. Because until you're willing to step into the war of it all, right, you're not really going to learn anything, because so much of this is psychological, right? In fact, if someone came to me and said, I'm having trouble trading, because the psychological and the emotional is 80% of it, it's a 4-to-1 favorite that I would bet that that's the issue. It's not the how-to. You don't really need to know a lot of the how-to. It's super interesting and you can study it, but as you probably know by now, the more of these courses that you buy or the things that you subscribe to, it doesn't remove your insecurity. It's time we had a chat about that and had a frank discussion, and I'm sorry for not bringing it up more directly like this with you. I kind of hinted around it with some of these unique sayings that I have, but I don't want to see people waste a lot of time trying to figure it out. The fastest way to figure it out, if you want to hear it in one sentence, is to open up an account and start trading it. Doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing, because you're going to figure it out along the way. That's the way it works. You have to do it. You can't sit and circle the wagons and study for 17 years and then figure out you got it all figured out, because it will have done nothing for you to help you understand how you are going to behave in conditions of uncertainty. That's not intellectual. You understand? It's experiential. So figure out what you can lose, figure out what you're willing to lose, and start learning your craft by doing it. There's no other way. There is no other way. Don't be stupid. Don't give away your money. That's all I got for you today. I hope you have a good time. I'm probably going to publish next week. I might not have anything on July 4th just because, let's face it, you shouldn't be watching videos of me on July 4th. Okay? Anyway, thanks very much for being here. Keep your comments and your suggestions coming. And if you want to ask me something on the QT, fine. I tend to prefer to speak to people who use their real names. If you use some kind of an alias and you don't want to use your real name, I understand that. But this is a show that's about empowering people, so don't use an alias. Use your real name. All right? I appreciate you all being here. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Please take a minute, like and subscribe to the show. You could also leave a comment. I don't have all the answers, so it's good to get some feedback. Also, if you would like to support the show, check out the links below. You can get the free audiobook of The Inner Voice of Trading, and also information about the course that I teach with Victor Sperandio. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.